I'm Dennis Young. I'm founder of Issues in Education, and I'm very pleased to have with me Mr. Ben Schwarm, which is Deputy Executive Director of the Illinois Association of School Boards. Well, you know, the topic that we have to talk about here is big as well, because students can't learn if they don't feel safe. And the whole issue of school safety certainly hasn't gone away. It's only gotten to be more comprehensive in the approach. Now, we've had a chance to talk to Jeff Vos about the whole behavioral assessment aspect, but the physical aspect of what needs to happen at a school building is really key.
Absolutely.
And you've been kind of spearheading that. So tell us, what are some of the things that you're dealing with today?
Right. And, unfortunately, just the tragedies that we see in the news
Yeah.
brings it to the forefront.
Right.
For the longest time, it was really based on physical security, which is still very important. As you said, they kind of, there was a shift somewhat to the behavioral side of that, which is equally important.
Right.
And we more and more have trainings in place for that. And school districts are asking us, how do I do this? Where do we go? We are still getting those questions on the physical side of that. So the Illinois Terrorism Task Force, which I'm a member of, earlier this year put together a school safety working group. And we met early this year pretty feverishly. It was better than most task forces that are done in Springfield and the Capitol.
I bet.
We actually got some work done. We put out a list of recommendations, and on the physical side of that, first thing we did is we put out a list of, okay, how do you harden the facilities? What do you do? This was mostly driven by and drafted by the state police, the FBI, sheriff's departments, local police, along with some school management people, myself, some superintendents, business officials, to make sure that we're all on the same page on how this is going to work. And it is actually it's done very well. Generally, they're best practices. They divided them into 5 tiers. In other words, when you start, what you should be worried about. Well, if you don't have locks on your door, you don't go out and buy a security camera, right? Fix the locks on your door. So it's tier 1, locks, windows, procedures, and on down to the 5th tier. That if indeed you've done all these other things, and still have some resources where to go.
What do you find how schools are dealing with the entry, the front door? Are they still using the call button, or have they moved past that?
They're coming around.
It's slow to work.
It was slow, but it's not really it wasn't the fault of the school board or school district in a lot of cases. It was the building. I mean, we have schools that are 110 years old. The buildings are. And with what we know now about security and one point of entry and clean eyesight lines,
that's right.
And all these things, it's not what they were thinking about. In the 1920s. So it was difficult. Not that they didn't want to come around and have the resources to do that, but largely I think they are there.
Well, it fascinates me, and maybe it shouldn't, but the way schools were built back in the 50s and the 60s, where you go to the high school and the principal's office is down the hall. So you're already into the school, just to get to the main office.
Right.
And the different districts we're working with, we're bringing that principal to the front. Just like you said, that recommendation has made a world of difference.
It has, and at least now, I mean, there are some progress of changing outbuildings and getting new buildings. Obviously now it's a financial problem, and trying to get the state on board a little bit to help to provide something there. And certainly when they're building, they had these in mind, and they're doing that. But there's been a lot of reconfiguration. Again, one point of entry is yes, you have to sign in. Yes, you don't walk through unescorted.
Right.
A lot of those procedures are in place now that weren't there even 5, 6 years ago.
Well, we have so many people around the country that are going to be watching this podcast. We don't have enough time to go through all the things that you're doing, and with the resources and the FBI and being on the terrorism task force. They need to contact you. What's the best way? Email?
Yeah, it's right. I mean, certainly, if you want to find us, our website is iasb.com.
Okay.
All of our information's on there. You can find staff. You can find my name, my phone number, my email. And yes, I get emails. That's probably the easiest way.
Right.
You'll always
Okay.
call. But we have on front page now on our website a kind of a standalone place to go just on school safety
Oh,
issues.
very good.
So we have these recommendations up there. We have information from the state police. We have the Homeland Security FEMA recommendations.
Mhm.
So a lot of that is there.
You have a valuable resource. You have everything so well organized on there. You
Thank
really
you.
do. You really
Thank
do.
you.
And since you're responsible for about 1.9 million students in the state of Illinois, from north to south, it's a long state.
It is. It's a long state and it's very diverse.
Yeah.
It's diverse based on a number of things.
Yeah.
Resources, finances, geography,
Right.
Culture. We go from large suburban districts with 20,000 students, full-time police departments, full-time fire departments, school resource officers, and then we have 150 school districts or in towns. When you have one part-time policeman and a volunteer fire department.
Yeah.
And the same ways to address this don't work.
Yeah.
You have to adapt.
Different. You think we're ever going to get to the point where you can say or I can say, this is the perfect school. It's done. This is the model to follow. You think we'll ever get there?
I don't know if you get there in anything, really, right? I mean, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
We've come a long way, and there are groups out there, and there are organizations, and there are firms that do know this, and present that to school boards and administrators, and it's come a long way to do
Yeah.
that.
Well, I've noticed in all the different types of communities we design schools in, we're looking at how long it takes response time, and depending on how long that is, kind of changes the design of the school in terms of the entry. Also, are we close to a light rail system?
Right.
And where people are coming in close to that school that normally wouldn't be there, and usually coming up with features from the law enforcement world, like the concept called Sallyport, which is you walk into the vestibule and the next door doesn't open until the other one closes, so that no one can shadow you in
Right.
and just follow you in.
No, absolutely.
And it's really gotten to that. So there's been a lot of great expertise out there. You just have to know where to find it.
It is.
And how to engage that.
Absolutely, and it's great because technology has come so far.
Yeah,
You can do
yeah.
so many of these things
Yeah.
with it before. To that point, though, there's even, if you don't have those resources for the technology,
Right.
there are still procedures and practices you do.
Right.
You don't let somebody else in the door. Again, some of these old schools, and they had that big old metal door that didn't open from the outside, right? You're locked on the inside, and
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
your garbage bins
Yeah.
are. So the janitor
Yeah.
goes out and puts a brick in there to prop the door open.
Yeah.
I get why they do
Yeah.
it, but we get change your locks, change your
Yeah.
doors.
Well, one thing to your credit you've gotten my company doing is when we're designing a school at the various early stages, we're asking law enforcement come in and critique the plan before we get too far along with it.
Absolutely.
Because I'm amazed, the set of eyes that they have is different than our eyes. They're wanting to figure out how to get into the school, and all we're trying to figure out is how to keep people out.
Right.
So to get that blend of perspectives has really been helpful.
It's very helpful, and if you can do it on the very front end like that,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. One of the things that we're hearing from school districts now who aren't necessarily building, but they want to say, it's almost like they want a security audit. Who can come out and look at my buildings
Yeah.
and see if they're okay? So in places where you have that collaboration between local
Uh-huh.
school district and fire and police responders, they're doing that in a lot of places. That's great.
Uh-huh.
Again, there are some areas of the state that don't have that luxury because they might be in an unincorporated area. or
Right,
whatever.
right.
So one of the recommendations of our working group is to create regional teams statewide, that if a school district wants this,
Huh. Wow.
they ask for this.
Wow.
It's not imposed on them.
Yeah, yeah.
And a team that has been put together by state agencies, state police,
Mhm.
and the various agencies, our emergency management agency, they're going to have a team. You can come out, you call them, they come out, and they will do that for you at no cost to the school district.